Headington School, to a different beat.
Hello, I'm Julia Mullen, the Director of Marketing and Admissions, and I'm here today with Caroline Jordan, who's been the head at Headington School for the last 9 years. This is her 10th year now, and I'm going to ask her some questions on your behalf so you can get to know Caroline as the head. So Caroline, what attracted you to apply for the headship here at Headington?
Well, I've been a head before, but when I saw this position at Headington, I was just instantly attracted to it. Oxford's my hometown. I don't think there's that many heads who can actually say they were born within a couple of miles of the school. I was, and I also went to university here as well. Oxford is a fantastic city, and the opportunity to come back and spend time in such a fantastic school was just too much to, I just couldn't turn it down. It was just a great opportunity, and I'm delighted to be here. And I'm now starting my 10th year, which is quite amazing, and it continues to give me great satisfaction to be headmistress here.
And what does it mean to you to be the head of one of the biggest girls' schools in the UK?
The great thing about Headington is its size, because it means that there's so many things that are available to the girls when they come. There's so many opportunities. There's a great staff with very many different attributes, and we can really pull on them in different ways. Now, I have obviously worked in smaller schools as well, but I think for me, it's really the opportunity to try anything you want to try. And I always say to the girls when they come, it's lovely that they're passionate about certain things and we want to give them the opportunity to develop those passions. But be aware, you're probably going to end up doing things you never even thought about. And that's the great thing about Headington. There's this choice every year when you're starting. There's a new activities fair. You can see the different things you've got to do and really make those choices then. And curriculum as well. There's a huge variety in the curriculum, and that's important because if girls are going to enjoy their learning, they really need to make sure that they have a choice of the sorts of things that they're going to be doing. So I think size is very important, and we're so fortunate our facilities are amazing. I really am very proud when people walk round and you see the wonderful Dance and Fitness Centre, and you see our library, the Sixth Form Centre, and of course we've got our wonderful, terribly exciting new build in the Hive. And so there's, again, with it, size comes lots of opportunities for different buildings. But saying that, having run a smaller school, I also know how important it is that girls feel that they're really known and there's a real close-knit group who can look after them. And that's the heart of our pastoral education. The fact that in a form group, they have 2 pastoral tutors who are looking after them. They're looked after as a whole in the head of year. We have heads of section, school counsellors, all of the teaching staff are involved in pastoral care. Because unless you do that and make the girls really feel part of a community, they're not going to thrive. So we work a lot of the time, and knowing we've got a large school, in breaking it down so that the girls feel they're part of something and they really have an identity. And that's what makes it so successful.
What direction are you taking the school in to ensure that the girls are prepared for their futures?
It's really interesting, this one, because in my teaching career, which has been long and varied, there's always been a big focus, and quite rightly, on getting exams, and through exams getting a good degree at a good university. Those things are still important. But actually, if you start listening to what's happening with some of the major employers, you realise that they are looking for a wide variety of skills when they choose people who are going to work there. And actually, sometimes those applications for the job the first time are blind applications. So very importantly, and I would always say this, of course, running a girls' school, they're gender neutral. It's very important. There's no bias against women, and there's no bias, of course, and importantly, about race, and equality is absolutely essential to this. But equally, because of that, sometimes they're not maybe even looking at where they've been to school or the university, but they are looking at the skills they've got. Now, we take that really seriously at Headington because we know that young people need to have teamwork, they need to be able to show resilience, they need to show that they have dealt with problems and how they've managed to overcome them and worked as a group, because that's what you're going to need with a major employer these days. So we'll give them so many of those opportunities, whether it's something like through Duke of Edinburgh or the CCF, or just being part of the hockey team, or being part of a play, being involved in a cast of a play. But we're really concentrating that on our new building, on the Hive. We're looking at creativity and innovation because they are the new skills that we know employers are going to be looking at in 2020 and onwards. So the fact that they're able to look at a problem, look at how they might come to a solution, work collaboratively, and a lot of our teaching is done using collaborative teaching, whether they're going to be working in small groups, whether they're using digital technology we have embedded throughout school, working together to come to a solution. That's what employers want. So it's very important they get very, very good results, and they do get superb results at Headington. They go off to top universities, they do that. But when they're interviewed, they're going to be able to talk, maybe not so much that they got such and such an A level or they were here at university, but the fact that they know what it was like to have failure and overcome it, how to be part of a team, how to be resilient. Those are the skills we're making sure that we embed in the education for the girls.
Now, Headington, as you've mentioned, is an academically selective school. So can you explain to parents what that actually means?
We say we're academically selective. That means we need to make sure that when your daughter joins a school, she is going to be able to thrive in our environment. But it's not about a whole load of massively big hurdles she has to overcome. We do some testing, and we test mainly in English and maths, but also non-verbal reasoning. We're looking really for potential. That's the most important thing. And we'll do that not only with the testing, but in the interactions we have with the girls. And we say, make sure we don't want it to be seen as an incredibly formal interview. It's about chatting to them, seeing what they're interested in, seeing that they will really thrive here, because we know if they're determined and they really want to get involved and get engaged, they will thrive. We're not hugely selective, but we do have a certain level over which they have to pass before we will take them in.
So for the last 6 months, we've been experiencing incredibly unusual times. We've been back at school for a week now. So how is the school experience different in light of the challenges that the pandemic has caused?
I've talked earlier about the advantages of working in a large school, having worked in a smaller one, and I absolutely know how fortunate we are at Headington. We are so well resourced and we have a lot of space. So coming back into school, there's loads of different measures we've put in place to make sure the girls are safe, because not only in the COVID world, at any time, the girls being safe is the most important thing. But we've put lots of different measures in, thermal cameras, loads of extra wash basins, etc. Lots of things to ensure they're safe. But we're able to do it in a very large structure, and we have had lots and lots of staff training to make sure the staff are very confident about what we're going to be doing. So when the girls came back, it was much easier for them, with lots of time for them to get used to the new practices as well. But I think what's really underpinned it for us is we felt that last term we managed to continue all of our teaching to a superbly high level remotely. And had that interaction between the teacher and the classes remotely, and also pastorally as well, making sure we're checking in with them. That gives us a certain amount of reassurance, because we don't know what the future's going to hold. We had recent government guidelines which talked about, with local lockdowns, possibly remote teaching and rotas. Well, we know if that happens, we can just flick a button. All the girls have their own iPads. We're going to be able to go straight through to remote if we are told we have to by local government. And we also know our teachers are all very, very au fait with doing that. There was a certain amount of upskilling for all of us, I think, me included, right at the beginning, but we've learnt from that, so we are ready to go at the touch of a button if we need to.
You've mentioned that Headington offers a huge range of opportunities. Why do you think an all-round ethos is so important?
Going to school isn't just about learning things, or rather, it's not about learning things in a classroom all the time. It's about learning things in other ways. We've talked about teamwork and resilience. You need to have those opportunities for the pupils to be able to do that, to interact with each other in different kind of ways. And that's where Headington's offer is superb. I mean, you only have to look at our almanac, which is available on the website, to see the variety of different opportunities, co-curricular. There's sport, there's music, there's dance, there's drama, there's CCF, there's outward bound type activities. There's also the ones that are more based around the curriculum, whether that's really showing your passion for writing. We've got groups who write superb magazines for subject-based or just for English. There's many different things that you can really excel at. And it's through doing that wider curriculum and also coming in contact with other people. I think that's really important, because if you're going to be in a play, you're going to be working with people who are older and younger than you. You're going to be able to show some leadership as well. I think that's a very important attribute, particularly in a girls' school, actually. We need to make sure all our young women know how to lead and know those skills are very important. So you're going to be doing that, maybe not just in the classroom. It's the wider education that is so very important to us at Headington.
And what are your favourite places in the school?
There's so many fantastic new places, like our library. Mind you, I actually love this room, which is our old library, the Lee Library, which is gorgeous because it gives that sense of tradition. We've got our new library, we've got our sixth form centre, which is very similar actually layout. It's fantastic opportunity for the girls. There's so many different areas for them there. And we've got the dance and fitness studio. I must say, I have on occasion been there at 6:45 in the morning. We've had some gym clubs down there and some, really getting involved in the gym with fellow staff. I must say, I'd be too embarrassed to do it in front of anybody else. But it's been fun to keep ourselves fit and healthy in the amazing facilities. And it's great that the staff are also able to benefit from the opportunities that are here for the pupils as well. But I actually also like being in the dining room because it gives me an opportunity to catch up with people. I always try and make sure I sit with different members of staff, and in the evening the boarders are around, maybe have a chat with them, just to see how the day's been, and you pick up so many different things from that. So just getting involved with different people, it's great. And the food's really good as well.
So you've been here for 10 years. What is your fondest memory of school so far?
I think as a head, you sometimes have to take a bit of a risk and do something that is out of your comfort zone. And we had various different, we have lots of fundraising here, and the girls are passionate about fundraising, but one event they had to vote for the teacher they would most like being covered in slime. And I won. What a surprise that was. So I had to go and get thrown into this this massive amount of slime and gunge all over me. In fact, they all videoed it, as they would. And it was out there all over the place. And I just thought, well, sometimes you have to show you can have a bit of laugh and raise some money, so that's really important. I don't mind doing that occasionally.
And finally, Caroline, what advice do you have for parents that are considering a secondary level education for their daughter?
It can be very scary looking at schools, but you should be reassured there are some fantastic schools. So don't worry, it's very much like looking at a house. You have to go on several occasions and get a sense, does it feel right to you? What I would say is I wouldn't take your daughter around every single school you want to look at, unless you're only sure you want 2 or 3. Because it can be very confusing, and sometimes, especially the younger the child are, they can get very hooked on one particular thing that maybe isn't having to be a nice day, or they liked what was being served at lunch, something like that. So I would pin it down to maybe 2 or 3, get a feel for the school, talk to parents who send their children there, try and interact with the girls. We always try and make sure that our prospective parents meet girls. Try and interact with the girls as you go around. Get a feel for it. Come on a day when it's a normal working day, come for an open day. Get a good feel and then go to 2 or 3 schools. And at that point, I think you do need to engage your daughter. She wants to buy into this as much. She's going to be the one who's going to be here for 7 years. So I think that's the time to really get involved with her and get her to experience as well. Get her excited about coming to the school.